everybody, I'm super excited about today's video because we are reading Hannah Brown's book. This is Mistakes We Never Made, and the reason why I'm so excited is because this is not your regular reality TV star memoir. This is an actual fiction book, a romance book if I am correct, that our former bachelorette Hannah Brown decided to write. Now when I heard that she was coming out with this book, I thought it was a ghostwriter. I was like, there's no way that she's writing this book. Could you know, when we hear celebrities writing books, I thought it was gonna be another Millie Bobby Brown. We all know that was a disaster. But from what I can tell, Hannah Brown did in fact write this book all by herself, and I am the biggest Hannah Brown fan. I remember watching her on Colton season and I loved her, and then when she became the Bachelorette, I was so excited and I absolutely loved her season. I am also an Alpha Chi and she was an Alpha Chi as well, so I just feel bonded to Hannah Brown. She's my favorite reality TV show person. She's my favorite Bachelor alum. I just love Hannah Brown. We are going to be reading this as objectively as possible. I automatically tend to think that reality TV stars or just people that were celebrities first aren't the best authors, but it is wrong of me to make that assumption. So today we're going to read this book and see how it is. I'm so curious. I haven't heard a ton about this on the internet, but I'm so excited to read it. There she is on the back. She's literally so pretty. I'm just obsessed. Something that I thought was really interesting about this book is that Abby Jimenez actually like had the quote like where she reviewed the book. She said it's like a really fun, fast, epic rom-com. So I love Abby Jimenez. She's one of my favorite authors, so the fact that she endorsed this book made me think, hey, maybe I actually want to read this. Again, I haven't heard a ton about it, but on my channel we're going to be reading this and actually seeing if it is a good book. Okay, so I'm 50 pages in, and usually I wait till 100 pages or like further into the book, but I just have to update you guys because if it wasn't a Hannah Brown book, I would be so tempted to DNF. I'm gonna read you 2 sentences from page 3, literally chapter 1, that kind of like sums up the writing of this book. The bartender, a white guy in his early 30s, is fairly cute, if only in a this bun and beard make up most of my identity kind of way. There's like a million hyphens on the page. The grammar is like so weird. I flashed the smile that's worked on bartenders since I was a freshman at the University of Texas, trying to convince them that I actually was Carly, 22, from Elk City, Oklahoma, not Emma, an 18-year-old pie wife in Dallas with a $120 fake ID. Like, I did question if she had a ghostwriter before I started reading this book, but now it is very evident to me that I think that she wrote it by herself. Very odd to me, just like the writing style. Like, I can just picture Hannah Brown writing this. Like, she's using y'all. Like, the main character said y'all all the time, and it's just funny to me. It's just funny to me because like that's what Hannah says, and so it's just like really interesting because I feel like I'm definitely reading this in her voice than like the voice of an author trying to tell a story, like where I can separate the author from what's going on. This book is about a girl named Emma, and she is the maid of honor at her best friend's wedding, and this guy Finn, who she like almost got with in college, I believe, is there, and now she hates him because of something that happened that we don't know, which obviously will get revealed later. And her best friend like starts freaking out and she leaves to like go 3 hours away, and so Emma is like going to get her, but she doesn't have a car. Whose car does she go in? Finn. So that's where I'm at right now. It's only 50 pages in. The writing is really big. It's only like 300 pages, so I will get through this book. I will say though that like as far as like real books written by celebrities, it is one of the most get throughable. That's not like a right word, but you know what I mean. Like, I can find myself like actually like getting through this book. I'm gonna read like a lot more and then I'll update you, but that's just where I'm at right now. Hi, okay, I look crazy because I just had a job interview, but I am on page 212. I have about 100 pages left. I just have to talk about this because I'm really underwhelmed so far, but also some of the things in this book are so funny. Like, she's talking about herself going into beast mode, and if we know anything about Hannah Brown, like, she is a beast. Like, she goes into beast mode. So I just think that that's really funny. Also, they are chasing her best friend who's supposed to be the bride, who has like ran away basically, but they're not really calling her that much. So I'm like, why wouldn't you just call your friend? Then they take a little break to get all dressed up and go out to dinner in Las Vegas. I'm like, why are we doing this when we're supposed to be finding our friend? Like, some things are just not adding up. I think the Hannah Brown writing style, it feels like she's trying to do a little bit too much because she uses a lot of hyphens, a lot of exclamation marks, and some of the actual language very basic, and there's just not a lot of uniqueness to the story so far. And I don't think that she's ending her chapters in a way that makes me want to read more. When she is ending her chapters, just very basic sentences and not like, oh my god, that's a hook for the next chapter, I need to keep reading. Another thing about this book is that it changes tense without changing structure in the book, so we don't really know like when we're in a memory, when we're in past tense, where we are in the story, because it's the exact same font, exact same paragraph. So that is honestly on the editor, I would say, not on Hannah, but it is very confusing. Another thing about the relationship that I just wanted to add in here is that it feels like things are happening, but there's not a reason why it's happening. When the two of them finally get together, it's not because it's a resolution of them like actually sorting out their issues. There also honestly wasn't that much tension before they got together. It feels like it just kind of happened in the book. So there's just a lot of things going on right now that I'm like, this is a good start, and also like, this is amazing that Hannah Brown has even written a book, but there's just a lot of things in this that I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish it was just a little bit different. Another thing that I am realizing that maybe be another reason why I'm like about this book is because Hannah uses actual brand names all the time. She uses actual TV show names all the time. If it was just like one or two, it would be kind of like fun and quirky in the story, but she uses so many, like it's literally littered with them, that it doesn't leave any room to the imagination. Like if she's wearing Adidas sneakers and a Gucci green dress, it like doesn't leave any room for me to like kind of imagine what it would look like, and I'm just making that up. I don't think that is actually in the book, but she uses like actual names of things a lot. It's just not hitting. I do have about 100 pages left. I think I am gonna go ahead and finish this and come back, unless there's something crazy that actually happens in the story. I have faith that it'll pick up and something will actually happen. I'm hoping that the reason why her best friend is running away from her wedding is like actually really good. It is giving like off-brand people we meet on vacation vibes, but again, it's still not the worst celebrity book that I've ever read. So we're gonna give this another chance. We're gonna keep going. I'm gonna try not to judge super hard, but as of right now, it's where I'm at. That was so painful. So painful. I finished this book last night, and I needed like a whole night and half of a day to sit with my thoughts and think about what I was gonna say here, because this book was so disappointing and so underwhelming. This book is kind of complicated because I couldn't really understand how to verbalize my thoughts on it, and I know why now. The actual writing in this book is not bad, and I think for a lot of books that I give lower star rating, the writing is really bad and I see a lot of issues with it. I do see a lot of issues with the writing in this book, like I was talking about the over usage of brand names and actual television and movie names. There wasn't a lot that was left to the imagination, and not a good way. I honestly think that the themes and the ideas in this book would have served way better if Hannah Brown had just written this 100% by herself. I did read the acknowledgements, and what I can find online, she did have have people, a whole team of people help her write this book, whether it was one ghostwriter or maybe somebody helping her with the ideas, but this was not like a effort that she just like made the book alone. She definitely had help writing it, and I think because of that the ideas are all over the place, it's not cohesive, and I think that it would have been better if she just wrote this book herself. I have not read her memoir, but I kind of want to kind of compare it and see how it is to a book about her real life versus a fiction book. Now let's get into all of the issues that I had with this book. First of all, and I touched on this before, it's boring. It was so boring. I don't feel like this book would add anything to your life. You know how some books are like fun summer romances? It's like, oh, read this when you're at the beach, but it's not going to be life-changing. I wouldn't recommend this because it's so boring. It doesn't even make me want to keep reading, and she doesn't do herself any favors with the way that she chose to end her chapters. They were boring thoughts. They weren't leading into what was happening next, and it just made me want to put down this book a million times. There are a million things happening in this book, yet nothing happening at the same time. So she brings up things all the time. She has issues with her dad. Finn, the love interest, also has a bunch of trauma in his past. They never really delve deeper into it, and if it is, it's like a whisper of a sentence and then we move on. The whole book is a road trip, and they are trying to find her friend Sybil, who is supposed to get married. So we're chasing this book, diving deeper into her friendship with Sybil, which also doesn't make any sense because there's oxymoron thrown in this book all the time. Like, it doesn't make sense, the character development. But anyway, she finally finds Sybil at the end of the book, and do we find out why Sybil ran away from her wedding? No, we don't. We really never find out. I think I read the last chapter like 5 times because I was like, is it me? Did I miss something? There was no resolution of the major conflict in this book, and that really grinds my gears because I'm like, why should I have cared this entire time? The relationship and the way that it progresses in this book seemed very 0 to 100, and there was no leading incident that caused the relationship to just happen. They would just one day decided to hook up, and that was kind of it. Our main character is not likable at all. I don't think either of them are likable. The decisions that they make and the things that they do and the dialogue that takes place just doesn't make any sense to who we are led to believe that they are from the first couple of chapters. Another big thing that really annoyed me in this book is that our main character is facing a lot of issues with her dad. She has a lot of trust issues because her dad walked out on her family. Well, we get to meet her dad in present tense at the end of this book, and it is not resolved at all. Like, the interaction between her and her dad is so weird. It doesn't make any sense, and we end the book still not knowing where all of these characters are with these major conflicts that were introduced in the beginning of the book, that we're talking about all throughout the book, that we're talking about how these characters have trauma, and when there is time for a resolution in this book, it just skipped over and suddenly we're at the end, and I don't know why or how we got here, and it's just so frustrating and disappointing. I settled on giving this book 2 stars. It honestly might continue to go down as I think about it more and more. I'm just very disappointed. I know that she signed a deal where she's making another book. I still might read that if I hear that it's gotten better. Hannah Brown is still someone that I really love. Like, I want to be her best friend. I really, really love her. I think she's been super successful in her career, but this book just did not hit the mark. I also don't think that Hannah thinks that this book is amazing just from like the way that she talks about it, and it would be really disappointing to find out that she also wasn't super happy with the finished result and decided to put it out into the world anyways. I almost bought a signed copy of this book, and I'm glad that I did it because I can't wait to return this to the library. Overall, nothing really made sense. It was boring. I could literally have a whole list of things that just didn't make any sense, like going to Vegas to find her best friend on Find My Friends and then deciding to change and go to a fancy dinner for over an hour. It just doesn't make any sense. So overall, I would not recommend you read this book at all. It was a waste of time, and I hope that this video saved you the time. No hate to Hannah, still love her. but sadly I didn't love this book. Alright everyone, that was it for this video. Please thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!